everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
My name is Circe Denyer, and I'm the Public Relations Officer of District 52 until Monday. This is Lance Webster. He is our LGM in training.
For another 2 days.
For another 2 days, and then he will be officially the LGM. We are co-teaching this class. I'm going to start us out with a little introduction, and then he's going to explain 2 of the projects at the end of the Competent Leadership Manual. Peter Drucker stated that management is doing things right, and leadership is doing right things. He popularized articles talking about how humans, that's us, were organized in business, government, and in nonprofit organizations like Toastmasters. Today, I am going to reintroduce the orphaned leadership track for District 52. When you joined District 52, you got 2 manuals. Everybody knows this one. This is the Competent Communication Manual. This is the other manual you received, and it's called Competent Leadership. And this is the manual I'm going to show you how to tell every person in your club how they can complete one of those. And as a club, you get a PCP point for it, but as an individual, you get an award certificate. Now that may not be important to everybody, but I'm going to tell you why it should be important, or you'll think of it in a little bit different way. The CL manual blends 2 ideas into one. And when the new educational program starts, which will be in effect July of 2015, there are going to be, that same track is going to be split into 2, management and leadership. Because management moves people. A manager tells people where to go, what to do, how to produce as a team, build projects, work together. Leadership, what leaders do is leaders allow people to move. A leader steps aside, people come and they want to be a part of it, but the leader allows people to move around and do the things that they do best. And the best leader will look at everybody that they see in their group and pick people based on their talent, the things they do best. Because the best quality of a leader is to notice who people are, to see them as they really are. That talent all of you have, and all of you actually gain by going through this project manual step by step. There are 10 projects in the CL manual. Every single project can be completed inside the club. Inside your club, except for 2. Those 2 projects are unique. They're part of management and part of leadership. And in a few minutes, I'm going to have Lance talk about those 2 projects. This is a blow-up of the project completion record of the CL manual. And you'll notice that it's broken down into the 10 projects, and they have titles. Project number 1 is listening, and a leader always listens because that's how you find out what people are good at. For example, if I never met Sean before, but he came to my club to visit, and I didn't know who he was or what he was interested in introducing myself to him, I might find out what he's interested in, what his talents are, what he does for a living, what he does for fun, which is much more important. And then later, as I get to know him better, and maybe I've got something in mind for the club, I might say, you know, something that you do really, really well will benefit the club, and I'd like you to participate. And then I step back and let him take over. So leadership is really about listening, giving feedback, so that's project 3, planning and implementation, a little bit of time management, although that one crosses lines, organization and delegation, because the leader is responsible for that, facilitation, and that is also crossed over, both management and leadership, and motivation. Management is covered in critical thinking, time management, planning and implementation, organization and delegation, facilitation, mentoring, and team building. Managers move people. And you can't move people unless you know who your people are. When a leader does the right thing, they influence those around them. They create an environment of excellence. It's the responsibility of those holding the leadership role to always do the right thing, even when it is not in their best interest or within their scope of desires. Even when it's not in their best interest or within their scope of desires. Now I'm going to explain that a little bit. I meet Toastmasters all over the place. Even Toastmasters that are not in District 52. And I often find that they don't want to track their progress. It's not in their interest. They just want to speak. They don't want to keep track of what they do. They don't want awards. That's not in their interest. But if that person is leading a group and they say, we don't track anything here, they're making a decision for every other person. And it may not be a good leadership action. Okay? That would be a person who is taking their interests and imparting it on everyone. Me, I step back from my interests. Some of my interests don't have anything to do with other people. They have to do only with me. I'll share them, but I won't impart them on anyone. So a leader has to step back from who they are, step back from what they want for themselves, and find out what this says and what this says, these two manuals, and give that information to their club. That's a leader, okay? If you are a member of a club, a single club, would you raise your hand? How many in the room are a member of more than one club? Okay, so there are several of you. When you are in your main club, how many of you know that your vice president of education or your secretary or your membership chair is tracking the roles that you finish each time you participate in a club? Ha, one person. You need to know that. How many in here know that your club has a free Toast site for a website for your club to broadcast? How many of you use an agenda on that website? Guess what? When your name is placed in the agenda on that website, there is something called a roles report. It's the little Monopoly-shaped character at the top of the agenda screen. And you, as a member of that club, can check your own record for the roles that you've played that will be recorded in this so you can complete this manual. Very, very easy. You can see what you've done since you joined, and you can see what you've done since July 1 of last year. So you can see your current year, or you can see everything from the time that website started. Very, very important. Now, this is the easiest manual to complete. Easiest. You do these roles every time you show up at the meetings. Project 1, wait a minute, I'm going to do this. I'm going to have Lance give you the hard part. Because as we get into this, this can be summarized really quickly. But these other projects down here that are a little bit outside the club, I want you to hear how you can complete those as easy as the others. Lance, would you come up, and he's going to talk about Project 8, which is motivation, and Project 9, which is mentoring. Lance Webster.
Thank you. How many of you would like to be a CL? How many of you are already a CL, a competent leader? Okay. How many of you would like to be? That's why you're here in the room. How many of you would like to be an advanced leader? How many of you would like to be a distinguished Toastmaster? Okay, every hand should go up because it's really, it's the pinnacle. It's the one that really gets the outside attention when you can use the word distinguished to describe yourself. How many of you have PhDs? This is not quite the same thing as a PhD, but in some circles it has even more respect. You want to work toward this. So this is not just a bunch of things you check off. This is a future that you are creating for yourself, a powerful future. I put off doing this work for years. I got my competent leader, competent Toastmaster, I got my advanced Toastmaster, various things. And I did the competent leader, the CL. I did most of this, except I didn't do one or two of these things down here. And I said, to heck with it. And then I realized that the people I really respected in this community were people who had stuck to it, who had done all this. So I say that as kind of background. I also want to tell you one other thing about, I want to talk for a moment about mentoring. One of my early jobs, my first job out of college was teaching public speaking in college. I did that day and night for 3 years. I listened to probably some 3,000 bad speeches and a couple of really good ones. But then I got a job at a television station in public relations. And the general manager of that television station, an NBC station in Baltimore, the general manager was immensely respected by every one of the 200 employees at that station because he had started at the bottom and done every single job. He had been an engineer, he had been a salesman, he had been a public relations and advertising person. We could all identify with him, and you know, the first press release I wrote, I got a handwritten note back from the general manager saying, good job, really appreciated it. Next time you might want to do that. It was like a Toastmasters evaluation, but I really appreciate the fine work you're doing. That's a form of mentorship. He could mentor anybody in that station, and the respect that he generated from all of the employees made that station immensely successful in that market at that time. Now, mentoring is one of the things that's really important to new club members and to existing members. How many of you have been mentored? Hands. Good. Tell me something that you got of value out of being mentored. By the way, you can mentor someone outside your club and get credit for it. It doesn't have to be someone in the club. So tell me something of value you got out of being mentored.
The process of the books and reading them and how to get them signed and get them completed.
How to get the book signed, how to do all the mechanical stuff.
Yes.
Really important. Something else. Sir.
Taking risks.
Say a little more about that, taking risks. What kind of risks?
Well, taking it on myself to do those things which felt right to me, and then getting positive response back from my leader, from my mentor, saying, good job.
So the mentor provided positive feedback.
That's right.
Very important. It's a critical part of mentorship. What's something else besides the mechanics, the reinforcement?
Criticism. Well, not criticism, constructive criticism.
Constructive
In addition
criticism.
to positive, because
Yeah.
it kind of pushes you to another level. You know what your weakness is, and then you want to improve that.
So essentially the basics of a mentor's job is to help people move in the direction you already know, to help people learn stuff you already know, right? How many of you think you could, how many of you have been Toastmasters long enough that you think you could mentor someone? Okay. And how many of those of you, just raise your hands, how many are mentoring someone?
Toastmasters? No.
In Toastmasters. Yeah, one of you out of all of you who know you can mentor someone. So what would you think that I would suggest you do?
Find a mentor.
Find a mentee. Find someone to mentor. But you have not, you don't feel you're ready yet, so you should ask for a mentor. Very good. So yes.
There's a form of unofficially mentoring people, right?
Yeah.
So I guess my answer.
Okay.
I don't.
Well, unofficially mentor doesn't get you a check on the chart. So you need to let the Vice President of Education know that you're available as a mentor, and you need to get assigned to somebody, and at the end you need to get that signed off in the book. So there is a mechanics to this that works, okay? So that's a little bit about mentoring. Do you have any questions about it? Yes?
How long you have to be in the Toastmasters before you can mentor?
Depending on how much knowledge you have about something, I don't think there is a requirement.
There is one requirement. You're going to mentor another member through 3 speeches. First speech, icebreaker. Second speech, organizing speech. Third speech is...
Use of words, I think, something like that.
You want to have done all 3 of those already. Once you have had your mentee through those 3 speeches, your mentoring job is complete and you can get it signed up. So have done those 3 speeches.
May I ask a follow-up? So, mentoring is more directed towards communication rather than leadership?
Yes. Mentoring a new member is to mentor them through the first 3 speeches.
And there's a lot of other stuff. If you have been a member long enough to know the way the club works, the way the rules are, you know, what the culture is, that's very important too. So mentoring goes, the first 3 speeches are the requirement, but the reality is you are helping a person learn a culture. Yeah. And it doesn't take long for you to, if you go to 3 or 4 meetings and you know the culture, someone walks in the door and they don't even know what a CC is, you know, or what a Toastmaster is, right? So good question though, thank you. Any other questions about mentoring? And thank you for that.
Is there a certain amount of speeches you actually have to have under your belt in the CC manual in order for you to become a mentor for someone?
You just have to have completed the same 3 that you're going to be mentoring for.
Okay. Yeah. And if you have done that, you have probably been a member of that club for several months. And so you know the culture of the club and you can advise on a lot of other areas as well. Okay.
Surely, getting the first check mark is accreditation of having done it once, but you want to continue to do it, is that right?
Yeah. You know, you approach a Toastmaster, when you sign the Toastmasters pledge, you're agreeing to be supportive of other members in the club. So if you have knowledge and wisdom, even at the basic level of 3 speeches on the club culture, to share that is an act of love. And that's where I suggest you all come from. Not a fear of, I don't know how to mentor, but the love of, I'm committed to the happiness and the success and the well-being of the people in this club, and I want them all to succeed, and I want them all to do well, and I have something I can offer. Yeah. Well, if it occurs to me, I'll do that.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, I want to talk about high-performance leadership. So how many people have an idea of what high-performance leadership is? One. So what would you say? Would you stand up so the camera can see you, face the audience, and just say what you know about what high-performance leadership is?
High Performance Leadership is a program helping you to understand yourself and how to grow to become a leader. It's
that's the theoretical. What's the nuts and bolts? What
nuts
do you
and
have to do?
bolts are you need to come and have a vision. You need to decide on a project. Then you have to build a team around it. Then you have to delegate the project pieces and learn. And you learn how to how each person works. Maybe you have to coach them around here and there. You might have to change things about your project. And then you need to, everything goes down on paper, and pretty much that.
Okay, very good. Let's do it. So let me try and pull that together a little bit. High performance leadership is a project that you decide to take on. So it's a project that, where in the course of this project, you will get 3 people to coach you and advise you. Right? Yeah.
Yes.
3, right?
Three,
Get 3
yes.
people to coach you and advise you, and you create a vision. You do all the stuff that a leader needs to do. You create a vision for that project, you enroll people in the project, and you manage, and that's the leadership, and then you also manage the project and manage the people who are involved in it. So what can some of these projects be? It could be a club contest, right? It could be something outside the club where you put together a speechcraft would be a high-performance leadership. So who knows what a speechcraft is? Okay, a speechcraft is essentially it's a public speaking course that you or one of the members of your club might put on, and you attract people who are not members of Toastmasters to your club by offering this course to the community. And it's typically eight sessions of maybe 2 hours apiece, and they pay a fee, maybe $75 or something, which goes into your club's treasury. And you organize other people in your club or outside your club to participate with you in teaching that course, okay? So there are people who know different aspects of things, or who can train themselves to teach some of the different aspects of public speaking from the book here. And the people who take this course give speeches. It's like a mini Toastmasters club, but it's sort of a compact education, at the end of which a lot of people are going to want to join your club, right? Because they've seen the value and they've seen what's offered, and now what they know they need is experience. And that's what you offer. So that's a speechcraft. It's one of the things you can do as a high-performance project toward becoming an advanced leader, silver, and which is the step you have to get to be a distinguished Toastmaster. So that's a high-performance leadership project. You have to enroll 3 people to be your coaches from not just your club, but from the whole world of Toastmasters. And you have to consult with them along the way, both before and after. You have to give a speech to your club or to any club about your project beforehand and the results of your project afterwards. That's 2 speeches that are involved in high-performance leadership. What about this?
The piece of this that's most important to everyone in this room, volunteer to be on the guidance committee for somebody you know is doing a high-performance leadership project, because that takes care of Project 9. You only need to do one thing in Project 9. If you're not into mentoring, you could coach someone doing a high-performance leadership project and get the same credit. However, if you're into mentoring, because a lot of people who are into mentoring are also into guidance, you can do both. Now what do? You've got 2 check marks for Project 9. I gave you a blank sheet. Make lots of copies of it. You can start. I have 4 CLs going right now because I repeat things. And if I participated in a high-performance leadership guidance committee, and then I also mentored a new club member, and I mentored an existing club member. That's 3 for Project 9. So I have a sheet that's got Project 9 filled out for 3 different CLs. That's how people complete these really quickly. They fill in the gaps. They keep track of what it is they do in the club.
Question.
Yes.
Before you start any of these projects, do you have to notify somebody in your group?
It is the vice president of education is going to sign off. You want that person to know that yes, you're doing that.
And maybe enroll them, if you're doing a project, enroll them to be one of your advisors. You had a question over here.
I did. So is a high-performance leadership project anywhere from Project 6 to Project 10? Or where does that start?
High-performance leadership project, if you decide to take one on, that qualifies you to get an advanced leader silver, which is 2 steps above the CL.
Oh, so
3
it's not
steps.
even
But
It's not-
advising someone is what gets you
The requirements.
Project 9.
To get this book done.
So if you know somebody who's putting on a contest, volunteer to help. Volunteer to be on their guidance committee. Tell them they should do it as a high-performance leadership project, and you'll be on their guidance committee.
And what that means that you listen and put in what's missing for their plan. Maybe nothing's missing, maybe they're brilliant. You know, when I did my high-performance leadership, because I've been doing projects for years, just never got credit for them, I really didn't need a lot of help, but it was really valuable to have people back me up and support and say, yeah, you made the right choices and decisions. I had 3 people who signed off on before and after. Question?
Do you have to have your CL before you do a high-performance leadership project?
No, I did mine in the 2nd month I was with them.
But you save it, so when you get up to the...
Yeah, when you're mentoring someone, I had the best mentor in the world. She's not here today because she hurt her back. But she taught me that if you do these things, if you look out there at the end goal, and you pick up these things that you're going to need later, oh, your life is so sweet.
Now,
So she told me, you need to chair a division contest and then produce that as a high-performance leadership. I did that. I had some guidance committee members which got credit in their CL.
Now, I did high-performance leadership 7 years ago, and never bothered to get it registered, never got signed off on, and it fell by the wayside. I had to do it again to get to my DTM. I don't know if I had to, but I did another one. But be serious when you take this on. But right now, for a CL, it's not doing the high-performance project. It is helping someone with their high performance, and everybody can do that, because you don't have to be an expert to have outside eyes that can see something that the person doing the project can't see themselves. I'm a life coach. A lot of my work as a life coach is helping people see things that they missed and helping them put in what they don't know to put in. Question?
Is this within your club, or?
It can be, or it can be outside the club. Yeah.
Yeah, you may have to be in a club where nobody's doing a high-performance
Right.
leadership project, but you're in, LACE, you're seeing people, and somebody might walk up to you and say, I need a guidance committee member. The best vice president of educations in the clubs will seek out people who haven't done that yet and haven't completed their CL and get them connected to people who are doing their leadership
And you might be able to check in with the area governor, who's in charge of 5 clubs, and who might have a perspective on who in another club in your area is interested in doing a high-performance leadership project. Yeah, it's a good club. I want to talk just for a moment about motivation. Motivation. What motivation is really about is about helping other people create a vision and step into it and live into it, and it's partly creating a being which generates doing. So you know the difference between being. Being is who you are, and doing is what you do. And the being of a person often generates the doing. So there are several things on this list that you can do that help motivate other people. You can be, for example, the chairman of a PR campaign, or you can be a speech evaluator. So is a speech evaluator motivating someone? Yeah, because you always start an evaluation by looking at a person's strengths and honoring those and complimenting them those and making them feel good about themselves and wanting to do better. So that's speech evaluation. General evaluator, you take that on for the whole club. What did we do at this club's meeting that worked, that really worked well? Here's our strengths. There are a couple of places that we need to be better, and that's this and this and this, and I recommend that we take on this and do that and do this and do that. But really, this club is a fun club, it's a loving club, all the people are committed to each other. I know you're committed to you, and you're committed to you. This is how you motivate people, by making them feel powerful, by making them see stuff in themselves that they may not be able to see, that moves people ahead. You can, a Toastmaster can do that job as well. So if you are a Toastmaster, Toastmaster or a speech evaluator or a gender evaluator, you can check that off. Now, a question I'm not sure about, but
Yes.
I'm sure Circe knows the answer is, if you are a Toastmaster, do you get to check it off here and here and here, or do you have to be 3 times?
You have to be at 4 times.
4 times. Okay, yeah.
Each instance, now this is very important. In this book, you can only give 1 speech in a 24-hour period. So I belong to 2 clubs that meet on the same day. I do not speak at the one in the morning and then speak at the one at night, because I don't get credit for the one of them. I only speak at 1 club. But I can speak at another club on the next day and get credit. The CL manual is slightly the same in that you can be Toastmaster at 1 club and Toastmaster at another club, but you only get to count for that 1 day, except for a couple of different things here. Number 1, you can be a speaker, which is Project 5, so you can get credit here and credit under Project 5 on the same day. Most people don't know that. The other thing is, you can be, where is it? You can be a grammarian in the Project 1, and then go to another meeting in the evening and do one of these other ones and get credit in it. This is the only manual where you can do more than one thing within that same day.
But if you're grammarian here and grammarian down here, you have to do it 2 separate times.
Yes, you're not getting credit in every project, it's each time you do it. And there's an evaluation, a short evaluation piece that someone in your club needs to fill out. However, let's say I go to a club and I'm signed up as off-counter, but our timer doesn't show up. Can I sign up as timer and off-counter and get credit for both?
Only one.
Both.
Yeah.
You can.
Oh, yes, they changed it, okay.
So this is a little different than the CC manual. You do have more flexibility with it, okay? Most people will only do one job at a time. But most of you in this room are probably this close to completing this manual already if you've been in your club 6 months. 6 months. Now, I want to tell you one little thing here on the Project 8. You must complete one chair job, PR campaign chair, or membership or contest chair, and 2 of the other ones, Toastmaster, General Evaluator, Speech Evaluator. Okay? So you have to do a chair job. Easiest one, chair the club contest in your club. Now that sounds like, well, we don't really do that. Well, do it. Why not? Somebody has to be in charge. Somebody has to tell people to come and where and how that's going to work as opposed to a regular meeting. Be the contest chair in your club. It started easy. Do that one. Or let's say you have a membership issue in your club and you really need to boost your membership. Get a couple people together. Figure out how you're going to boost your membership. If you're in charge, you are the chair. Tell your VPE. That's another way of getting credit.
So what are a couple of ways, for example, that you could do that? What are a couple of ways that you could be membership chair for your club without being the vice president of membership? So tell me.
Open house.
You could go to the vice president of membership and say, I want to be in charge of an open house. What we're going to do is I'm going to motivate and inspire the other members of the club. We're going to get a guest speaker, whatever it takes to do an open house. That's one. What's another way that you could be a membership chair?
And the membership drives.
And what would that look like?
Well, we did it having an open house, but
What's another way you could have a membership drive
You
besides
can
an
go
open
to
house?
another location and host a meeting or something where you can invite people.
A special meeting where you invite people. Yeah.
Can you close a member?
Hmm?
Can you close a member? Like close them, like I get somebody to sign up and they do, does that count?
Well, it doesn't count if you just get one member. You're not a membership campaign. So a membership campaign is a bigger effort. And you would work with the vice president of membership. And you might sit down with your vice president of membership and say, for fulfilling Project 8, I decide I want to take on a membership campaign. What would you suggest? What do you think would work? Work with me and advise me, and let's work together on this, but I'm going to be the chair of this campaign. And you know what the membership vice president is going to say?
Okay.
Thank God, somebody is stepping up to help me. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can have a competition of who brings in the most, yes.
You could have a competition of who brings the most. Now,
Yeah.
this could also be a public relations campaign. Remember, the job of public relations is to get people in through the door. The job of membership is to sign them up. So maybe a membership campaign might be training all the people in your club on how to speak powerfully about being a Toastmaster. That could be a membership campaign. So, be inventive, be creative, and I'm sure that the Vice President of Education will sign off on something that is creative, intelligent, and fulfills the objective of being more than just one conversation.
So could your membership campaign also include your new direction of social campaign? More targeted social campaign to...
It could. Yeah, if you take on for your club a social media project that brings people to the club, that's a PR campaign, right?
Absolutely.
Advertise in the newspaper, put it up on the web. and hand out more flyers and have a speaker.
Yeah, and what I would do if I were taking it on as a campaign, as Eileen was just sort of intimating, is I would sit down and I would create a business plan for my public relations campaign or my membership campaign. So a business plan is, what do we have to do? Do we have to pay for it? Does it cost us anything or not? Cost is often time and people, as well as, or in addition to, or other than money. So it isn't always money. But what's the end result we want to achieve? How do we achieve it? What resources do we need? And what do we expect of the results, and how will we know we achieve those results? So if you have a membership campaign and you do not set a result that you expect to get, then it's not really a campaign, it's kind of wishful thinking. So if you say we're going to have a membership campaign that will produce 5 new members by 2 months from now, and then you do the steps necessary, you plan the steps and necessary and do those steps, that is a membership campaign. Even if you only get 4 people or 3 when your goal is 5, it's still a campaign.
Absolutely.
Just
Absolutely.
high performance leadership too. You can either.
You can do both
It works
simultaneously.
that way or.
Yeah.
it can fail.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
A membership campaign does qualify as a high-performance leadership project as well, if you do it right. Now, with the high-performance leadership project, it is really best if you coach or guide somebody else doing it, because you can see the process. There's a speech you give at the beginning. There's 2 committee meetings, one at the beginning, one at the end, that you have to do.
and you do have to have the committee in order to have,
And you have to have a
support.
committee. There's a project set of books that your guidance committee gets, and you get to follow your progress. And then at the very end, you get evaluated, and you turn in the speech evaluation for the final speech, plus you get signed off by your vice president of education. That gets faxed to Toastmasters International, goes on record that you did this, and it's there permanently.
Now, remember what she's talking about, what I talked about earlier, the high performance, that is not something that's necessary for your competent leadership. But it could double if you do a membership or a contest chair or a PR campaign and do it as a high performance leadership project. You're getting credit here and you're getting credit down the road. There's no reason why you could not do that in your first year as a Toastmaster. And then, believe me, when you come down the wire to be Advanced Leader Silver, you've got that under your belt, and then Distinguished Toastmaster happens automatically.
Yes, it does. That is the most amazing thing. You apply for an Advanced Leader Silver, and guess what? You just apply for DTM. There is no extra thing you do. So it's really pretty interesting.
So in other words, I could have been DTM 7 years ago because I had completed everything. I just didn't have the right signatures put on, and I didn't mail it in because I didn't just come to a meeting like this and hear somebody like Circe tell me the truth. And it took all these extra years, and I had to have all these, like Advanced Communicator Bronze, Advanced Communicator Silver, all these things after my name, when I could have just said DTM.
Oh, yes, Lance, we missed you.
I would like to give you guys a statistic. Across Toastmasters International, there are many, many members. District 52 has 2,112 members. 2,112. Of those 2,112 members, how many people do you think have turned in either one of these, that they've completed one of these, or they've completed one of these, or they've completed any advanced leader certificates or advanced communication certificates? How many? Give me a number.
400.
Okay, anybody else?
Is that a cumulative for all of those?
The whole year.
But for all of those distinctions?
Yeah, all of the awards. That's high performance leadership, that's advanced leader silver, that's CC, CL.
So out of
How many?
20 out of
Somebody gets 400,
412,
everybody else?
700.
Okay? 200. Okay,
242.
okay.
I have one number.
239,
Oh, close.
14% in District 52. Across Toastmasters International, that number drops to 10%. 10% of the people who buy the membership, attend the clubs, go through the process, only 10% of them turn in and get those certificates. It's not that they're not completing them. It's not that they're not doing the work. They're not filling out the application and turning it in. This year, in my club, I have gotten all my officers energized to raise that up to closer to 80% of my members. 80% of my members I want to have turned in something, anything. And this is going to be one of them.
How many of you in this room have either a CC or a CL right now? Raise your hands. You are part of the 10%.
Yeah.
You are better than 90, you are more accomplished, not better than, you are more accomplished in Toastmasters than 9 out of 10 people in the world. Now, what's the percentage who are distinguished Toastmasters?
I don't know, I didn't do that number.
It's probably under 1%.
Yeah, it's very small.
really
Yeah.
small.
Very small. Let's go, in our last 10 minutes, I want to show you what you need to do, how you need to take this information back to your clubs, how you need to use it personally. Look at the sheet that says project completion record.
Sorry, can I interrupt just before you go on?
Yes.
Could you remind us again, how do we make a note of the different roles we do, so we do get credit for all the things that we're doing?
If you have an agenda online, and you sign up for a role, it's automatically recorded, and there's a role report at the top of the agenda that you can print to see where every role that you've done and when you did it.
And is that agenda?
If you do not have that, you need to talk to the secretary of your club or the vice president of education for your club. Somebody in the club should be keeping that record if you don't have a free Toast site.
Would you recommend that we ourselves keep our own roles and just
Absolutely.
cross-check?
That's what this project record's for.
That's the one.
That's
Yes.
it, that's it.
Yes.
And who actually does the evaluations? Is it anybody in the club or?
Anybody in the club can do an evaluation in this seal manual.
And
The
by the
vice
way-
president of education has to sign off in the following column
Gotcha.
that says you've done all
This
of them.
column right here, the vice president of education has to initial.
But any
that you
other
have done
member
those.
can certify that you did this. Now, let's say you're a timer at a demo meeting. Janet Walters is starting a new club, Lance is starting a new club, somebody's starting a new club, and they call on you because they need a timer for that demo meeting. Grab this book, take it with you, ask the person who asked you to do that to sign off.
Or if you give a speech at a demo meeting, bring this book, and there you are.
Project 5 and the speech. I completed my DTM in 2 years, a little under 2 years.
Took me 14.
You know why?
Took me 7.
Record keeping, writing it down, having people sign off, paying attention. Record keeping is your new best friend. So, quickly, project 1, 3 out of 4, odd count, speech evaluator, grammarian, or table topics speaker. Somebody calls on you for table topics, you get project 1. How many times have you done that in a club? You can have 5 CLs started. That's the only place it appears.
So when you say 5 CL started, meaning 5 of these sheets?
5 of those sheets going, keeping track of when
So
you did them.
get them signed 5 times?
Yeah.
5?
Just start 5 different books.
Yes.
Okay, like you mentioned earlier, for all counter and those other ones, you're saying that the board is naturally keeping track, right, when you volunteer yourself? How about for table topic speaker? There's
No,
also-
what I did in my club, because I want everything written down.
Right.
At the end of the day, when the agenda is complete, I go back into our agenda, I edit it, and I add table topic speaker 1, 2, and 3, or 4, or 5. And I put their names down. Now it's part of the roll report.
And typically, when you have the table topics, in order to vote, the table topics master summarizes the people, and that should go into your club minutes. It doesn't
And
always,
yes,
it should.
the secretary or vice president of education should keep track of that. Vice president of education should know all this for you guys. So if you go up to your vice president of education and say, have you recorded when I was table topic speaker? And they say no, tell them, but it's project 1. I want credit.
Yeah. Project 2 is critical thinking. You need to be a speech you need 2 of these 3. Speech evaluator. How many of you have evaluated a speech, by the way? Let me see your hands. Just about everybody, almost. How many people have been a grammarian? And how many people have been a general evaluator? Okay, 2 of those 3, and you've done project 2.
Yep. Project 3, giving feedback. Speech evaluator is repeated, grammarian, and general evaluator. There again, those people who raised their hands, you've probably completed project 2 and 3 already and didn't know it.
So you type, let's say if you're grammarian, you can put in the 2 and 3 both places?
Yeah, let's say you're grammarian on Tuesday at this meeting and you're grammarian the following Tuesday at a different meeting, you would sign off on project 2 first and then 3 next.
Or at the same meeting on different dates. Yeah.
Basically, you're allowed to put 1 day in each spot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Project 4, time management. You need to be a timer. How many of you have been a timer? Okay, that qualifies you, plus one other of the following: Toastmaster, speaker, table topics master, or grammarian. How many of you have done one of those 4 positions? Toastmaster, speaker, table topics master, grammarian. See, most of these people are
Yeah, I
really
know,
ready for this.
you are probably, like I said, this close,
Project 5.
getting this completed. Project 5, planning and implementation. I already told you, you could be a speaker, sign off in the CL manual and in your C manual. So if you've been a speaker at a meeting, general evaluator, Toastmaster, and topics master. Now, I do need to mention this. Toastmasters International has all of these roles written out and what your responsibilities are. Most people do not realize if you are a Toastmaster meeting, you're supposed to call the speakers or email them and find out if they're ready to give their speech. That's part of planning and implementation. That's why it's there under that category. Most people don't know they're supposed to do that.
And we will be working through the new Vice President of Education to make sure that Vice Presidents of Education know these things. Number 6, you only need to do one of that list. And it's help organize a speech contest, a special event, a club membership campaign or contest, a club PR campaign, a club newsletter, or assist the club's webmaster. You do any one of those things, and if you're smart, you'll do one of these that you can double up with down here.
Right.
I just had somebody proofread my website, so
Yeah.
I was able to give him his
Yeah.
CL.
Somebody proofread our website, and they got credit for number 6.
I would also encourage you, if you are into Facebook, get a Facebook page up for your club and use that as that, assist the club's webmaster, and make that your part of this project. Because the Facebook page is just like a web, it's a blog kind of thing, you can do that as well.
Or a meetup.
Exactly, or meetup. Okay, project 7, facilitation, you need 2 of these. Again, Toastmaster, general evaluator, topics master. That's where this one appears. And then the last one, befriend a guest. Somebody comes in the door, nobody invited them, they came in off the web, you walk up to them, you introduce yourself, you have them sit next to you during the meeting. Guess what? That is project 7.
But how do you prove it?
Yeah, exactly.
You go to the Vice President of Education at the end and say, do you see what I just did? I sat next to this person, I welcomed them, they
You
joined.
introduce them.
Yeah.
Or they didn't join, but you at least did that. They don't have to join. Number 8, motivation. So we talked about this a few minutes ago. Complete one of these chair jobs and 2 others. So you will have already probably done one of the 2 others. That's Toastmaster, speech evaluator, or general evaluator. So the other thing you need to do here is campaign chair or contest chair or membership campaign. Excuse me. So, and you've probably done one of those up here too.
Exactly. Project 9, mentoring. 1. You need to do one of these. Mentor a new member through the first 3 speeches. Mentor an existing member. Now here's an interesting story, really quick. My mentor, that mentored me through Toastmasters and is still mentoring me, she said, I have learned more about Toastmasters by talking to you about it, and you showed me things I didn't know before. So I'm going to sign off for you, mentor for an existing member.
That's an easy path.
I was a new member, and I was teaching my mentor things he didn't know. So she said I was mentoring her. It was not something she just did. It was something she legitimately, she'll tell you why that she did. She did that because she knew that I was so enthusiastic about Toastmasters, I was showing her things.
So
That's how you do it. You find somebody's a little stale.
So I've founded 3 clubs in the past 6 years and mentored all 7 officers for 7 years,
That would qualify.
about 100 times. Okay. And project 10, complete Toastmaster and general evaluator and one of the following.
No, or. This is
Or.
really important. Or
Yeah,
one
or.
of the following.
And that's membership campaign chair, club PR campaign chair, club speech contest chair, club special event chair. I don't think we've mentioned that one before. club newsletter editor, we haven't mentioned that one, club webmaster. So there's some creative things, some imaginative things that you can do to fulfill number 10 if you don't want to be, well, you will have been a Toastmaster, everybody, and a general evaluator. But if you don't want to take on a membership campaign chair or one of these other things, just create a newsletter.
But your team building, again, as Toastmaster, I told you, you're supposed to call the speakers and see if they're ready. You're supposed to call people and let them know that you're the Toastmaster. Do they have their introductions ready? Are they ready for the meeting?
And
the general evaluator is supposed to do the same thing for the evaluator schedule for the meeting. That's why it's called team building. That's why it appears over here.
And club newsletter editor or webmaster does not mean you do all the work.
No.
It means you put together a team. So a club newsletter editor would get various people to write articles for that newsletter. Maybe it's only 1 or 2 people per issue. Maybe the newsletter only comes out once a month. But you get other people involved in it, and that's team building.
So how many people in this room believe they probably have their CL this close to being completed and they didn't know it?
Okay, and by when will you complete it?
Would you please fill out the training evaluation form for us and turn it in?
So wait, I want those 3 people to raise their hands. By when are you willing to commit to completing your competent leadership?
Gosh, like next week.
Good. Okay, and you, sir?
I don't know, I have to go back and look at the records, I know I've done a lot of stuff.
Awesome.
Oh, but no, that's edging. You've done an awful lot, so you would be willing to commit to completing it within 2 months, right?
If I could find all the records.
Sure.
Does Braille Club have somebody who keeps records for the club?
Yeah, we have a secretary, we have to keep reading in the wheel all the time.
Okay, well,
That's the problem.
okay. Somewhere it's down,
Now,
3 months?
I have to go back and I've misplaced my book. Buy my book, do my documentation, and then just wrap up.
You can do that in 2 months. That's 8 weeks.
Knock it out.
It can
Okay,
happen.
good.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
I mean, the agendas from the past, it'll show us as taking on a role, but then nobody's actually gonna do the evaluation of the book if you just check it off. So how does that?
Somebody was there. Somebody was there when you did that.
Usually your vice president of
Yeah.
education is there and will remember.
All right.
Yeah.
That works for me.
Good.
I have done that many times.
What I do is I say, I need somebody to sign this, and they say, okay.
Yeah.
I was under the impression, I'm not sure if this is my club's best practice, but I thought a mentor had to finish all 10 speeches.
No.
Oh, okay,
No.
so for the purpose of this, when we say mentor, they only need to complete the first 3.
That's
And
right.
then being a mentor means being there for the mentee's first 3
The
speeches.
fact is, it says first 3, but if you come in a little late as a mentor and you do speech 2, 3, and 4, I think that would qualify, wouldn't it?
It's just 3.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You
whatever
just
the
have to
three
have
are.
done the first 3 because that's what you're mentoring them with.
You have to have done the first 3.
Yeah, you have to be understanding what those speeches mean.
Yeah, and so
Because
you
it's
should,
really hard to coach somebody through a speech that you've never given.
and so you know, if you've done 7 speeches, you could mentor people on any of those 7 speeches.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, on behalf of Circe, I want to say that you have been a great group. I like to thank, I don't say thank you to groups just arbitrarily. I say thank you for something. And what I thank you and what Circe thanks you for is being attentive. First of all, for being here. Secondly, for being attentive. And thirdly, for participating as much as you have. That really makes it worthwhile for us to be here. So for that, I say thank you.